Hey, it's the Fintech Newscast. My name's John, and with me, as always, but this time live on video, is Steve. Welcome to the podcast.
I could be deep fake, I could be real, but I'm here. Good to see you, John.
You look fake to me. Yeah, yeah. Well, this is when our introductory episode, our premiere episode as a video podcast, and I really admire your confidence, not having to clean up or dress up at all. That is kind of a confidence I admire.
It's called being comfortable with yourself and what you look like. Thank you. A face for radio right here.
Yeah, yeah, I am missing both of those actually. So yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. All right. Well, we're still going to cover all the great fintech guests that you've enjoyed in the past, and a little bit of news, which we're going to cover this time, and along with our guests going forward. And I really wanted to get into like the top three things that I thought were really interesting, at least to me, in the news lately. So, you ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
All right. Yeah, that's the kind of when I get two thumbs up, I know I'm on the right track. There you go. All right. The first thing I've been curious about, and I thought was kind of interesting, is the Trump accounts. I keep hearing about them, but I really didn't know how it worked or what the purpose was. And it turns out the way it works is a little bit complicated, and the purpose is not exactly clear. Is the short answer. But these will be coming on the 4th of July of this year, 2026. And there's the initial. Yes, that's right. They're very patriotic accounts. That's true. And these are for anyone under 18 that has a social security number can sign up for a Trump account. How you do that is a little bit complicated, but I'm sure it will get simpler down the
Oh,
line.
it's actually pretty easy. You just go to trumpaccounts.gov and then go
Ah,
from there.
there's an IRS form that's 47 something that you have to fill out. But I think it's going to get easier now that they have their financial partners in place. But if you're fortunate enough to be born between 2025 and 2028, you'll get $1,000 from the government, and there'll be some matching from some companies. There's the Michael Dell contribution of I think it was $6 billion or so to help roll things along, and there's a $5,000 annual limit as to what you can contribute. So it
It's pretty
sounds all
small,
good,
actually.
right?
Yeah, it's pretty small. It's great. I think that it's interesting on so many levels. The first is that, somebody ran the numbers, and if the accounts grow at a 7% clip every year, by the time you're 65, you could have 80 grand, which is not all the money run to us right now, and it won't be in the future either. But it just shows you that, the accounts can
Oh,
grow
is that
significantly.
that's just that $1,000 though?
That $1,000, whatever, 60 years
Okay,
from now,
okay.
will be worth
So, but you
$80,000,
you need
which
to
is
be
not,
contributing to make it
you
into
should
really
ideally.
something. Yeah, yeah.
You should ideally, yeah. But it just I think actually, we can go on a day about his faults, but I think this is actually a net positive. I think that it makes sure that everyone is invested in the economy and in the stock market, and again, it gives a lot of folks kind of a head start. But I'm curious, is there any sort of income requirement for these, or can anybody get them?
It looks like anybody can get them. It's actually makes more sense the more money you have, right? Because if you
Yeah,
think about it, the 529, the pre-tax accounts focused on education, actually do a much better job of that. So
they
for
do.
if you're saving for education, when you pull the money out, you're not taxed on that as long as it's qualified education expense. And you can save a lot more, and you can do a lot more investment options with a
Yeah,
529 than you can with a Trump account. So let's say you have a kid, you bought the house, you have the SUV, and now you have enough to save for your kid's 529 account, max that out, and now you have enough money to even save for your kid's retirement, which is actually
you
kind
can
of
do that.
the focus of this account. It's essentially a retirement account for children,
Yep,
but
yep.
there are other things you can use it for. So if you can imagine, if you're covering all of your expenses and you've saved enough for your kids' college, and now you're putting a good amount of money, let's say, into a Trump account for your kids' retirement, this isn't for your kind of average income kind of people. So probably as far as getting the tax deferred growth benefit, skew towards the higher income side of the world, which is not surprising from a product called the Trump account.
It's just the way a tax code works, right? It's kind of skewed towards the higher end of the income. It's also a program that will
It
only
doesn't
run, as you
have
say, for
to,
3 years.
but that's the way it is. Yes.
That's the way it is. It also only runs for 3 years. I think it ends with Trump's end
Oh, no,
of
no, I'm sorry.
second
The
term.
$1,000 matching is only for those 2025 to 2028 newborns, but
Right.
you can still open accounts. Anyone 18 or under can open an account.
Oh, that's
They
great.
just won't
Oh,
get the
in that
free
case, yeah,
$1,000.
that's excellent. Again, I think it's great news. It's sort of like baby's first brokerage. It's what this is. Yeah.
Baby's first IRA.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is actually what happens when the kid does turn 18. It converts over into a regular IRA account.
There you go. Which would be run, we should say, by BNY Mellon and Robinhood.
When it's a Trump account, yes, but once it's
Yeah.
a traditional IRA, they can move it around anywhere they want. Yeah.
Because
And there are
it's
some
such an easy
other
process.
yeah, yeah. So that's
It's
I hope that's perfectly clear.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There are some things you can take the money out for besides retirement without getting the penalty, 10% penalty. You can take $10,000 out for a first time home purchase, which, could be a down payment and or a good part of a down payment in
A down payment
most of
where?
the country. Yeah, not in the Bay Area, not in Silicon Valley. But yeah, for higher education costs, you can take up to $5,000 for the birth of a child or if for adoption or for qualifying medical expenses. So there are some other things you can use this account for without getting the penalty, but mostly for the baby retirement, baby's first retirement, as
I love
you
it.
put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So kind of a kludgy. There's kind of other things that do it better, like a 401k, IRA, Roth, and then you have another kind of way to start the savings for retirement process. The education, the 529 does that a little bit better. The tax advantages are better because
Hmm.
once you withdraw from a Trump account, you're paying tax on that. It's only tax deferred, not like the 529, which like I said, you don't have to pay taxes on it for your education. One feature I really like about this, actually, the thing I do like is that it's strictly limited to low cost ETFs or mutual funds.
That's actually great. Yeah. No crypto,
That's the
no
only
risky bets.
yeah, right, right. No crypto, no Trump coin allowed. And these ETFs or mutual funds have to be invested in widespread equity coverage of American companies only. So this
That's
is the
great.
only kind of investment you can make is across equities, American equities, through a low cost. And I think that's kind of an important point, the low cost part of it, where there's not room for abuse or large transaction fees or that kind of thing, or just using it as a vehicle to, like you said, speculate, which, teenagers might push for. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I think the real strategy here is if you're having a kid, so what you'll get the $1,000 and at least open the account to get the $3,000. So does that make you want to have that next kid, Steve? You'll
No,
get a
I would need
thousand
to put a
bucks.
I you have to put a couple of zeros after that for me to do that. But it's still, I think, a
Yeah,
great program.
yeah, yeah.
It's a good program.
Are there enough zeros for your wife to say yes?
No, I think there's an infinite number of zeros.
Yes, yeah. So I think that's the take is to open the account, get your $1,000 for your newborn, and congratulations on that, and then to max
Congratulations.
out the 529 account. And there might not be in what 17, 18 years, there might not be a number high enough to pay for your kids' college at
No.
that point. You're almost
For a
upset
million
that they're
dollars.
yeah, that might get all used up at a
Yeah.
private college in 1 or 2 decades. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. It's heading that way. Yeah, so that seems to be the strategy. Get your 1,000, max out into 529, and if you're rich enough to get that $1,000,000 targeted into the 529, then still go ahead
Yeah.
with that additional money for your kids' retirement.
It's free money.
And yeah, and you'll be a much more fortunate kid than I think we were.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that you have money now built up today that your parents put from when you were born for your retirement?
From the 1970s, right? Imagine that,
Yes.
including all the growth we had in the 90s and the past 10 years. I would be in a different place right now. I'd be in Tahiti somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you'd have to wait for the 59 and a half, actually. So,
Yeah, yeah, pretty close.
or take the hit, maybe. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's the story with the Trump account. I was kind of interested to see what was going on with that. And as with a lot of things, it's kind of half baked, but kind of slapped together a lot of different features. So hopefully it works for you. Yeah, and we'll see how it goes. All
Yeah.
right. Topic number two, or the second most interesting thing in fintech. I've seen two. Yeah, we're up to number two. Is Revolut invading America? Revolut, the UK fintech that's spread now across 40 different markets. Even though they're only going to be they're just over 10 years old, so they've been going very very quickly, at least geographically. And it's gotten its UK banking license, and now it thinks it's ready to take on the Americans. It signed up for or started the process for getting its US banking license in March. So they're going to make a real go of it, but a little bit of a tricky task there. Not an easy market to crack.
It's been hard for most neobanks to actually crack the US market because we have such a well-developed financial system. So N24, Chime, etc., Dave,
N26
all
also.
or and N26, yeah, yeah. You
Yeah.
see, I even forgot the name. It seems like all those companies have been sort of unable to crack the nut of the US market because we have again such a highly developed and I would say competitive space for cards. So
Yeah.
I don't
And our
I
technology
wish them
companies
luck.
aren't shy to jump in.
Exactly, and it seems also like payment is everything. Like there's embedded payments. There's, I think even T-Mobile now has a debit card, which I don't use, but I'm a T-Mobile customer, and it seems like every company now has some sort of fintech product to offer you. Walmart has
Do
one.
do you use Google Pay or Apple Pay, by the way?
I use Google Pay all the time, just on my phone to tap to pay. I have an Android, not an
Yeah.
Apple phone. I pay with my watch as well.
Well, nobody's perfect, Steve.
Nobody's perfect. Yeah,
So, yeah, like you were saying, the Euro fintechs anyway have had a hard time coming into the US. N26 was just in for like a little over 2 years before they withdrew back to
yeah.
Germany. But it seems like the ones that do well are really focused on one product, one task. So Wise does really well with the
Yeah.
international payments. Klarna does well with buy now, pay later. They're Swedish,
Affirm
right?
also. I think they're Swedish. Yeah, yeah. I recently used Affirm. I was trying to buy tickets to go to a Giants game, and somehow my credit card wouldn't go through. So I opened up an Affirm account, which actually they make the process super easy for you. So I
Also,
opened up
putting
an
money
Affirm
in the
account with it.
account is helpful.
Yeah, of course, that's also quite helpful. But it took maybe like 30 seconds of actually onboarding to go through the process, and now I owe them money. But yeah, it seems like all these sort of more narrow plays are really interesting. Yeah, you mentioned Klarna and all that. So the buy now pay later stuff works pretty well. Anything with payments works well. It's just sort of the current account space that folks have been unable to
Yeah.
crack.
Yeah, yeah, or the general banking. They can come in with like a what's it what did Steve Jobs say? You have a feature, not the
Product.
company. Not a
Yeah.
those when they can come in when there was a kind of a blue what's it? Blue ocean, clear field.
Blue sky, green
This
field.
guy, yeah, they can jump in. But coming in like this, Revolut is head on with products that are very, very well entrenched and across a lot of like you use Google Pay, I use Apple Pay, and so competitors like Curve, Curve came in with this kind of consolidated card product, and they just, I mean, our techs had already beaten them to the punch there a
Yeah.
bit, so it's tough to break in.
Yeah.
But on the plus side, Revolut does have a lot of experience opening in different markets. They just opened full banking actually in Mexico. I don't know if you saw this in
Oh,
just
I didn't
this
see
year.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, so they'll have a full banking product suite in Mexico. So they're surrounding us little by little. So they're definitely gaining the expertise and experience of going into new markets and expectations. Systems regulatory are no joke. when you do that. So let's see. I mean, they seem pretty confident. They're targeting a $200 billion valuation by 2028. And you can say things, but and that's with going up from 60 some million customers to, well, were they targeting 100 million
100
by
million
that same
customers.
time
Wow.
before they go IPO as a prep to go IPO?
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting because this also has implications for the IPO market, right? It seems like companies are staying private for much longer now because this is, they've been around for so long, and there's been rumors of a Revolut IPO for the past like 5 or 6 years, but finally we'll see IPOs. It's sort of the immense value that's been created in the private markets and not so much in the IPO. There's also, if you're a private company, especially in fintech, I would assume that the scrutiny in terms of account openings and AUM would be significant for any company operating accounts, right, in the US. So I don't even see why they would need to go public, other than maybe having that sense of, we're a legit company now, you can trust us, and we're FDIC insured. But yeah, best of luck to the team. It seems like a pretty an uphill battle.
Just a regulatory issue in the US. You have federal, and of course, all 50 states
All 50
have their own
states, yeah.
rules. And yeah, so that's been kind of a stumbling block for a lot of companies. But yeah, it's a good thing that they're not going public too soon. They said not before 2028.
Great.
And lately, we've seen values go down for a lot of fintechs. Block is down about 70% since 2022.
Wow.
Yeah. Chime, our US champion, which actually, can you guess what the size of deposits are for Chime?
Oh God, good question. I'm gonna say under $5 billion.
Rightfully pessimistic. You're obviously paying attention. I think people that you- for sure that use them or have heard of seen a lot of the commercials would guess that they're much higher, that they're bigger, right? But actually, around $7 billion is the estimate because they're private.
Very small, very small.
Yeah, and then Revolut, bigger, more markets. What would you say?
Under 15.
Yeah, see, good pessimism, but with their $75 billion market cap, that's with only $65 billion of deposits. So great, great valuation if you can hang on to it. But Chime, which went public in 2025, is down 32% in market cap. Probably better that they should wait a little bit.
I'd say wait, yeah, yeah. Going back to the AUM question, I'm curious, what is the AUM for, say, JP Morgan or something, or Wells or Citi?
Now we're talking about real scale. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the real competition. And you see how far these guys have to go. Yeah, $7 billion for Chime, which is, I think, the leading competitor fintech bank. $7 billion compared to $2.7 trillion for JP Morgan. So yeah,
Eye popping.
they're not sweating too much over Chime. You don't see them buying them
No,
out or anything. Go ahead,
no.
see if you can grow up a little, kid, and maybe we'll talk.
Do your best. Yeah.
Yeah, tough markets, tough market valuations these days. So yeah, probably there's probably a little bit of an influence into their decision to wait.
Yeah,
I do want to see these fintechs do well, but on real earnings, not FTX style Sam
exactly.
Bankman-Fried. It looks like he's taking over the world, and not so much.
Not quite.
Yeah,
Not quite. Yeah.
not
Yeah.
quite, not quite. Well, besides that kind of criminal, there are a lot of cyber criminals out there. And this is topic number 3 of our top 3 interesting things in fintech this week. Cyber criminals are always fascinating to me because the way they come up with these new ideas and complex ways to steal money is just fascinating. I mean, from you want to see them in jail, but you're also, I can't believe they come up with always some new idea to steal. And unfortunately, it's hit French citizens this time. The cyber criminals have targeted freelance fintech companies, especially French citizens on those websites, on those platforms, to use those as mule accounts where they can transfer money and then get it out right away. Which fintech enables faster money movement, which I know you're always pushing for, and faster KYC, AML. But on the flip side, it lets thieves and criminals and imposters get away with money quicker. Actually, one shocking statistic: 1 in 7 business account signups in France was identified as fraudulent.
Oh my God. And the idea again here is that you have as a fraudster, you get access to somebody's freelance account and you can use it. I think they also have slightly higher limits than a consumer account, so they can transfer more money out, right? So it's a great way to
Right.
kind of
Or
withdraw
they can
funds and
process
move money around.
cards. Yeah,
Yes,
process somebody's credit cards, get the money, and then run off. Yeah, yeah.
it's good fraud. It's good fraud.
Unfortunately, this is really big enough. I saw that the losses were around $2.5 billion, and that was up
It's huge.
24% from last year. So this is becoming a real thing. Yeah, so this is a huge ecosystem where you can buy PII, personal identifying information for people. You can buy the tools that will hack. You can buy the accounts where you're the cards that you're going to run money out of this thing, and you're end to end. You're a virtual cyber criminal organization.
Yeah. Again, I'm always shocked at how innovative these people are, right? They're able to find all these
Yeah.
exploits. It's just I'm curious why
In a
France and
very
not
bad
other EU
way. We're
countries?
not endorsing any of
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
It's
But
bad
you
innovation, but it's
see
still
about you
innovation.
see dumb criminals all the time, and you're like, at least these guys put in some effort. Come on,
Yeah, yeah, they're savvy. They're pretty savvy. Yeah,
they
yeah, it's
earned that
great.
time in jail.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, one thing that really kind of bummed me out was that 85% of the losses of that 2.5 billion was borne by the victims, and I don't know how
Oh,
that works, but that seems a little bit high to me.
so
Uh,
there's no like FDIC insurance in France or something like that? It's
well,
interesting. It
you're
seems like
you're
they
running
would.
a card. It's not a deposit account because you're just running a card. It's going into your account, and then out of your this is freelancer account, so like an Uber, let's say,
Yeah.
account, it's getting sent away through that. So it's not passing
Ah,
through a bank account necessarily. So
ah,
you've just lost in your account there.
Manque, that's
Yeah.
terrible.
Yes. Yeah. Quel dommage. Yes. Terrible. Yeah, but what makes this all more scary is if you needed this to get worse, is that the Anthropic Mythos release, which is going to give you even you or cyber criminals even more ways to hack and let you break into, I won't say anywhere, but a lot more than you could before.
Yeah, this is the model that they released called Project Mythos, and they essentially said this cannot be sent to the public, so they limited the release to maybe 40 companies or so. So JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, I think they had a meeting in the White House also. They think it is so powerful that they basically have to treat it with kid hands. Although, funny enough, apparently there was a leak because these companies all use subcontractors and all that. It was able to gain access to the model that was not supposed to get access to it. So we may see some crazy hacks, but yeah, but essentially the idea is that with this model, you can essentially run all kind of exploits. You can find zero-day exploits. It was able to find some kind of bug where they could be exploited in a 27-year-old program that most banks use. So pretty powerful stuff.
And this is all by accident. They
Yeah,
didn't know that the model was going to do this. This was just going to be the next Anthropic release for general use. And then they found that when they asked it, hey, find an exploit in this website or this browser, and it did it great. It did a great job. And it was really, really well attuned to that, to that,
yeah,
to that job. So imagine if they hadn't realized that before they released the model.
exactly. Yeah,
This would
I think it's just
already be out in there. Yeah.
it's just the natural progression of how things are moving. And by the way, Anthropic is maybe like a 4-year-old company, which is crazy that they're already able to essentially, obviate the needs for passwords and cybersecurity within 4 years.
Yeah, yeah. So a little bit scary. Like you mentioned, there is some addressing of this issue. Like you said, there are meetings with the government, meetings or collaboration between what is it, some 40 some companies, large
Yep,
companies, JP Morgan, Google, Goldman Sachs, which obviously have a lot of security concerns, are looking at ways to use this to plug holes first before they get found by some other malevolent AI. The UK regulators have included this for discussion as well to address this. So there's definitely some. some large, powerful government and commercial entities taking this seriously, but you just have to stay ahead that much quicker, right? I
It's
mean,
a
who
never-ending
knows what
process,
kind
right?
of mythos equivalent is being built in China or Russia or in some
Or in
basement
San Francisco. Yeah.
or some basement in Illinois somewhere. Yeah, 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 exactly. So the hot take from this one is never pick up the phone or click on any link
Ever again. That's it. You're done. Only
ever
in-person
again.
meetings.
Yeah, yeah, and that things will get probably, I don't know, maybe more expensive, more difficult because there's going to be more AML, more compliance checks, more security, more second factor
More
logins,
losses. Yeah.
more losses. Yeah, things will get more expensive anyway. So long gone are the days where you just set up a quick email and logged into somewhere, and they're going to have to track you to make sure that the IP makes sense for your login. So you have to give up more privacy and in the name of safety. Right, so it's gonna be kind of more of a pain to do everything if the
Thanks,
stronger these,
Anthropic.
weapons are. Yeah, yeah. Well, the cyber criminals, come on, let's but, it was bound to happen, and, the fact that they found this just by accident is crazy.
Yeah.
So, no one knew that the AI would do this, so, I mean, we have no idea where the next surprise AI capability will be.
I guess we'll just have to wait for next week until the new model comes out.
Yeah, Mythos 2, The Revenge. This
The
time it's
revenge.
personal.
Yes.
That's right. All right. Well, thanks for sticking with us. Please hit subscribe to keep up with the latest on fintech, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you later.